Anthrax Fear at NBC and Dr. Phil next, DT.
A possible new anthrax attack, this one aimed straight at the U.S. government. The target, the majority leader of the Senate. Caught underprepared and off guard, the government scrambles now to beef up defenses against bioterror. How the U.S. may have incredibly passed on a high probability shot at taking out the leader of the Taliban. And Eye on America investigates the Saudi connection in the terror attacks. It may go well beyond bin Laden.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. The FBI opened a criminal investigation at the U.S. Capitol today after a letter sent to Senate Majority Leader Tom Daschle tested positive for anthrax. President Bush said he, quote, wouldn't put it past Osama bin Laden to have a hand in this latest anthrax attack, but the president added he has no evidence of that at all. So far, the number of anthrax exposure cases in the United States is very small. But the government is scrambling to protect the integrity of the U.S. mail, reassure the public, and be ready in case there's a worse anthrax or other nightmare scenario. CBS's Bob Schieffer begins our coverage.
It was during a routine photo session when a reporter offhandedly asked if there were new reports of anthrax, to which the president responded, yes.
I just talked to Leader Daschle. His office received a letter, and it had anthrax in it.
And as stunned reporters soon discovered, police had already blocked off Majority Leader Daschle's Capitol Hill office and isolated staffers, while hazardous material teams combed the area with special equipment. The alert was triggered when a staffer found powder in an envelope.
Just as soon as it became clear that there was a suspicious substance in the envelope, we contacted the Capitol Police and the Capitol physician.
The first test confirmed suspicions.
We conducted an examination of the material that was in the letter, and it tested positive for anthrax. I should stress, though, that this is merely a field test. This is a preliminary test that we do in the field. It's a quick and dirty determination of what we were dealing with.
Like the envelope containing anthrax sent to NBC in New York, the one received here was mailed from Trenton, New Jersey. It was postmarked September 18th. How many of Daschle's staffers were directly exposed wasn't disclosed, but 50 were being tested.
They have been swabbed, and they will be tested now to see if they indeed do have any of the spores. Then in the meantime, we will treat them with Cipro.
The incident touched off reports of suspicious packages in at least 12 other offices here. There were no announcements that any of them contained anthrax, but as a precaution, Capitol offices were directed to open no more mail. It is being collected now and screened. And for the first time that anyone can remember, it was announced tonight that public tours of the Capitol will be canceled indefinitely. Dan.
Bob Schieffer on Capitol Hill. The fear generated by the anthrax scares is more widespread than actual cases of the disease. The hunt for clues and suspects includes everything from the biomarkers that would lead to the source of the germs to the postmarks that could eventually lead to the people who sent the letters. CBS's Lee Cowan is on the anthrax case.
3 weeks, 4 cities, and at least a dozen confirmed cases later, that Trenton, New Jersey postmark could be the first step on the trail to a suspect. While neither of the contaminated letters has a return address, New York's police commissioner said today they've traced letters with less.
You'd be surprised. We do pretty well with anonymous letters and threats of other types.
But at the post office in Trenton, there are more concerns. At least 2 postal employees are now complaining of anthrax-like symptoms, and workers in 46 neighboring post offices are being tested for the anthrax bacteria.
There are common flu-like symptoms. There's a headache. There's a mild grade fever.
In Boca Raton, Florida, where anthrax first turned up nearly 2 weeks ago, 31 postal employees have tested negative, even though today investigators found a small amount of anthrax in their sorting facility. It's the same facility that handles the mail for American media, where the only fatal case of anthrax poisoning has been reported. While the FBI confirms the wife of an employee in the building had rented apartments to 2 of the suspected hijackers, investigators now believe it's nothing more than an unsettling coincidence. With few answers so far, anthrax anxiety has become a plague of its own. From offices that were evacuated to planes held on runways. Some say fear has become more destructive than the spores themselves.
It's an excellent vehicle for putting fear in people. We should not be fearful. There is nothing to fear here.
But late tonight, 2 more cases of possible anthrax illnesses. One in a 73-year-old mailroom employee of American Media in Florida, and another case now reported in a child of an ABC News employee. That brings the total number of people infected with the disease that have become sick to 4. Lee Cowan, CBS News, New York.
An important note on the anthrax story. U.S. officials tell CBS News some of the attacks reported on over the past week may turn out not to involve anthrax. These officials say the field tests for anthrax are not completely reliable, and some scientists now involved in further testing are not convinced anthrax was present in all of the reported attacks. The government says it does have enough antibiotics to treat 2 million Americans for anthrax and is now scrambling for enough drugs to treat 12 million. CBS's medical correspondent Elizabeth Caledon reports on how ready the U.S. is or is not for bioterror.
2 weeks ago, before anthrax became part of the American vocabulary, health officials said the nation was prepared. But now, with 1 person dead and several others infected, the sense is we're not prepared enough. And today, the government asked Congress to spend an additional $1.5 billion in the war against bioterrorism.
We need to realize that we are not unprepared as a nation, but indeed we are underprepared.
Senator Bill Frist spent his day meeting with emergency management teams in his home state of Tennessee. Frist, a doctor, says recent anthrax attacks have highlighted gaps in the system.
That money will fill those gaps to make us prepared in the event there's a bioweapons attack.
For example, since the attacks, pharmacy supplies of the antibiotic Cipro, one of the drugs known to fight anthrax, are thin.
I'd say we have about 80 prescriptions waiting now as it is.
$643 million of the new funding will be spent on beefing up the country's supply of antibiotics. And Bayer, which makes Cipro, has agreed to increase production by 25%. The funding will also help overburdened laboratories. This one was forced to conduct 1,000 tests after the anthrax case at NBC. The staff here has been working around the clock. More money will mean better, faster technology. Extra money will also speed up vaccine research and development, both for anthrax and smallpox, and will help hospitals be better prepared. But bioterrorism experts like David Segrist fear $1.5 billion just isn't enough in the face of this new threat.
Americans spend $300 billion a year to be defended. I think they're entitled to a defense that defends.
As each day brings a new anthrax scare, perhaps the government will continue to rethink its defense. Elizabeth Caledon, CBS News, New York.
In the war against international mass murder conspiracies, U.S. planes today staged their heaviest daylight attacks on Afghanistan yet, as Pentagon war planners identified new Taliban targets. But CBS News national security correspondent David Martin has confirmed that more than a week ago, as the bombing was just beginning, a huge opportunity appears to have been passed, perhaps even blown, by U.S. commanders.
It has been tested before, a missile fired from an unmanned reconnaissance drone and hitting a tank. But on the first night of the war, there was a chance to use it for a knockout blow against the Taliban. U.S. intelligence believed it had located the supreme leader of the Taliban, Mullah Omar, and President Bush personally approved attacking him, even though there was a chance of damaging a mosque. But the battle commander, General Tommy Franks, uncertain the predator really had Omar in its sights, never gave the order to fire.
It is practically impossible to know with certainty who is on the ground in any given location.
The president of Pakistan told CBS News the war could be over in 1 day if the U.S. took out Omar and the Taliban leadership. Without the Taliban, he said, Osama bin Laden will have no place to hide, no one to protect him. In the hunt for Omar, the U.S. has bombed his compound, even attacked what was believed to be his personal vehicle.
It is possible from time to time to see what looked to be military leadership elements moving.
U.S. bombs are still finding plenty of targets, hitting bin Laden's training camps and picking off aircraft one by one. Pentagon officials believe this small village was leveled not by an American bomb, as the Taliban claims, but by an explosion triggered by an attack on a nearby cave.
I think everybody was surprised by the length of the fire afterwards. It went on for 3.5 to 4 hours.
An unmanned reconnaissance aircraft similar to the one which almost got Mullah Omar also spotted bin Laden himself on one occasion. But it was before the war started, and the U.S. was not yet ready to open fire. Dan?
David Martin live at the Pentagon. On the ground in Afghanistan, leaders of the anti-Taliban alliance, calling itself the United Front, say their forces are advancing steadily toward a strategic northern city, Mazar-e-Sharif. At the same time, CBS's Elizabeth Palmer reports U.S. combat aircraft today bombed Taliban targets in 4 other Afghan cities, including the capital.
U.S. warplanes streaked through the pre-dawn sky over Kabul. The capital's main telephone exchange was knocked out, cutting off one of the last communication links with the outside world. Over the weekend, the American campaign shifted gears, attacking Taliban foot soldiers massed behind these mountains in northern Afghanistan. As a ground offensive grows closer, the United Front is gathering new recruits at this boot camp. 200 young men are being hardened for battle. The youngest here volunteered when he was 15. I'll be proud to die fighting the Taliban because it will make me a martyr, says Faisal. To prepare for a final offensive, he and his friends are learning to fight, some before they even learn to read.
This country has been at war longer than these kids have been alive. For them, soldiering is not only a glorious profession, it's the only profession.
Afghani boys practice handling the tools of the trade first at home. Mahmoud Zair is a United Front fighter and father to 15-year-old Tahir. When you have a son, the first thing you do is go out and buy him a Kalashnikov, says Zahir. I'd rather see my son die than have him live under the Taliban. Officially, the United Front doesn't conscript boys under 18. But in reality, all volunteers are welcomed into an army that's only 15,000 strong and facing more than twice that many on the Taliban side. There are reports that the Taliban conscript children as young as 12, which means that if Tahir ever faces the Taliban, chances are he could be fighting an enemy even younger than he is. Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, Lala Maidan, northern Afghanistan.
Secretary of State Colin Powell is in Pakistan tonight. His mission to shore up the Pakistani government's support for the war on terror. But that mission was complicated by a sudden flare-up in another conflict. After a 10-month ceasefire, Indian artillery opened fire on Pakistani outposts along their disputed border in Muslim-majority Kashmir. And elsewhere in Pakistan today, Muslim militants staged a general strike and battled security forces in some places in a new round of anti-American protests. And Pakistan is not the only Muslim country hit by protests against the U.S. bombing in Afghanistan. Indonesia, with more Muslims than any other country, has seen almost daily clashes between protesters and police. Today, hundreds of militants, joined by university students, took on security forces outside the parliament in Jakarta. In Nigeria, weekend protests against the United States turned into religious riots, with Muslims battling Christians. Nigerian officials deny reports of hundreds killed. They put the toll at 18 dead. In London today, Prime Minister Tony Blair met with Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat. Arafat said it is time to, quote, reinvigorate the Middle East peace process, and Blair repeated his support for establishing a Palestinian state. And British Airways and Air France say the supersonic Concorde jetliner will resume regular transatlantic service November 7th. The planes have had safety overhauls in the 15 months since a crash near Paris killed 109 people. Coming up next here on the CBS Evening News, Eye on America follows the terror trail and turns up Saudi connections.
It seems like only yesterday. When I started skating at 8 years old, I never thought I'd experience the thrill of winning a medal. With all the great memories has come another thing I thought I'd never experience, the pain of osteoarthritis.
Vioxx is here, a prescription medicine for osteoarthritis pain. With one little pill a day, Vioxx can provide powerful 24-hour relief. Vioxx specifically targets only the COX-2 enzyme, a key source of arthritis pain. People with allergic reactions such as asthma to aspirin or other arthritis medicines should not take Vioxx. In rare cases, serious stomach problems such as bleeding can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have liver or kidney problems. For more information, talk to your doctor about once daily Vioxx for the relief of osteoarthritis pain.
Perhaps my biggest victory is to be able to plan my day around my life instead of my pain.
Ask your doctor if Vioxx is right for you. Vioxx for everyday victories.
Mom, how many Tums did you take right in front of the wedding planner? You snuck one, too. It was a Pepcid Complete. Is that the same as Pepcid AC? No, there's nothing else like Pepcid Complete. It works fast like Tums, but it lasts for hours like Pepcid AC. So your heartburn goes away and then stays away. Chewable? Calcium? I gotta try this.
Decision?
Tony, fabulous.
Pepcid Complete. Just one, and heartburn's done. Have you tried the anchovy cookies?
Oh, yeah.
And the jalapeno dip?
My business is more than just a business to me. It's my passion. So when my doctor told me I have asthma, I went to cbshealthwatch.com. One click on Smart Search gives me exactly what I need to know about controlling my asthma, from medications to new treatments. With CBS Health Watch, I spend less time searching and more time doing the things I love.
Save time, get answers. Visit cbshealthwatch.com.
It's a different kind of Fixodent with no artificial flavors or colors. It's Fixodent-free. Fixodent holds stronger, holds longer than any other free adhesive. Fixodent and forget it with Fixodent-free.
Maybe you should ask your doctor about Flonase nasal spray or call 1-877-FLONASE. When your doctor writes your prescription for Flonase nasal spray, you'll be glad you took the time. Why wait? All you want is Flonase.
Tonight's Eye on America is a hard news look at the hunt for suspects in the attack on America. It turns out now that beyond the Saudi Arabian Osama bin Laden himself, in many cases, the terror trail leads to Saudi Arabians, as CBS's Vince Gonzalez reports.
Since the September 11th terrorist attacks, nearly 700 individuals have been arrested or detained. But U.S. Attorney General John Ashcroft says the search is far from over.
Well, we have a couple hundred people, close to a couple hundred, that we have on a watch list that we are still seeking to find.
New details have emerged about the people who may be on that list, many of them citizens of Saudi Arabia, America's ally. According to the Los Angeles Times, among those investigators are looking for a Saudi radical in Arizona with ties to Osama bin Laden, who is said to be scouting terrorist targets in the Southwest. A Tennessee-based Saudi businessman who has no connection to the hijackings, but who was reportedly trying to buy small planes in August. And a family that moved to Florida after a 10-year-old boy told his teacher last summer his father, a Saudi citizen, crashes airplanes into big buildings. The FBI also wants to locate 5 Saudis, 4 of whom may be pilots, who were booked on a flight from Los Angeles to New York a week before the attack. Their reservations were made by one of the dead hijackers.
The main source of support for fanatical political Islam is coming from Saudi financial backing.
Professor Vali Nasser says the Saudi government has appeased Islamic extremists by funding and promoting a radical form of Islam that sees the U.S. as an enemy.
They have been playing with cobras in a snake pit and hoping that they will be able to retain control of it. They've lost control of it.
An unknown number of Saudi citizens have already been detained, including a man found videotaping a federal building in Detroit and a Saudi Airlines employee in Las Vegas who was allegedly recruiting Muslim youth to go to Afghanistan and fight for the Taliban. Osama bin Laden is Saudi Arabian, but his terror network is international, and authorities are also looking for scores of citizens from other Middle Eastern countries, including former mujahideen who fought in Afghanistan and Bosnia and who may now be living in the United States. In Los Angeles, I'm Vince Gonzalez for Eye on America.
While Saudi Arabia's royal family says it sees Osama bin Laden as an enemy and the United States as an ally, Saudi Arabia formally backed the Taliban, and its support for the current war on terrorism has been weak. In public criticism of the United States, which saved his country from Saddam Hussein, one Saudi prince said the bombing in Afghanistan, quote, does not please us at all. Next on the CBS Evening News, the other air war in Afghanistan. Along with food drops, there's a war of words and ideas.
Folgers Decaf. Really good coffee.
It's LensCrafter's best $99 offer ever. Right now, get a complete pair of glasses with DuraLens, our most scratch-resistant plastic lens for only $99. The $99 DuraLens event. This is one you don't want to miss.
29, 30. 30.
Now at Red Lobster, you can get 30 mouth-watering shrimp for just $9.99. Red Lobster, go overboard.
Finally got out of college.
Finally got a job.
And then?
Marriage.
Now what?
Kids.
What?
And a house.
How many bedrooms?
And appliances.
That's the easy part.
At your local brand source store, great value, selection, and service allow you to focus on the more important things in life.
And for the baby's room?
Baby? Oh. Baby.
Brand Source. We're your neighborhood expert.
The long jump. The dash. Life is like a sport, and your feet take the impact hard. But new Stride Guard insoles absorb 50% more heel impact than these Dr. Scholl's. Take more impact in stride. New Stride Guard insoles.
Reading to the kids at the library is the highlight of Fred's week. But some days, his COPD keeps him from being there. Chronic bronchitis or emphysema associated with COPD can keep you from doing simple things.
But now taking Ceravent helps me take fuller breaths.
Nothing can reverse COPD, but taking Ceravent twice a day can help improve your lung function around the clock. Ceravent should not replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms or be taken more than twice a day. Some people may experience increased blood pressure, heart rate, or changes in heart rhythm. Ceravent is a prescription medicine and may not be right for everyone. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure, or take MAOIs or tricyclic antidepressants. Ask your doctor if Ceravent is right for you.
And start taking fuller breaths.
This weekend, Enterprise Rent-A-Car announces special low rates from just $9.99 a day. Friday till Monday from just $9.99 a day. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
1-800-RENT-A-CAR.
Even as U.S. warplanes press the bombing campaign against terrorist camps and other Taliban targets in Afghanistan while trying to avoid civilian targets, a parallel campaign has emerged. It began with airdrops of food to Afghan refugees, but now, as CBS's Mark Strassman reports, it includes a concentrated effort to convince Afghans of America's friendship.
Okay, a little burble.
Over Taliban territory, U.S. planes have begun a paper war.
We've got 42 rolling.
Dropping thousands of leaflets. Each shows a Western soldier shaking hands with an Afghan and says, the partnership of nations is here to assist the people of Afghanistan.
We're working to make clear to the Afghan people that we support them and we want to help free their nation from the grip of the Taliban.
This U.S. plane is actually a flying radio station. Other leaflets tell Afghans hungry for war information how to tune in. Also dropping from Afghanistan's sky, nearly 300,000 meals to civilians below, all part of the U.S. battle to win hearts and minds from the Taliban.
Anything that happens in warfare is psychological.
Retired Army Colonel Tom Normand ought to know. During Operation Desert Storm, he directed psychological operations that targeted Iraqi civilians and soldiers.
So psychological operations saves lives. It saves the lives of enemy soldiers, it saves the lives of innocent civilians, and it saves the lives of American soldiers who don't have to go fight these guys who give up.
During the Gulf War, thousands of Iraqi soldiers got the message. They surrendered carrying Allied leaflets that promised them food, shelter, fair treatment. Historian Stanley Sandler wrote a book on psychological warfare and knows its winning formula.
Know your target audience, tell no lies, be believable.
Over Afghanistan, the goal of this psychological air campaign is the highest form of war, to win without firing a shot. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Atlanta.
On the CBS Market Watch, stocks closed mixed today. The Dow gained 3.5 points. The Nasdaq lost 7. It provided the steel for such landmarks as the Empire State Building and the Golden Gate Bridge. But today, Bethlehem Steel filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, blaming low-priced foreign steel and the slowing U.S. economy. Evidence of the hard times facing the airline industry, the Mojave Desert parking lot for out-of-service airliners. It's filling up fast, more than 200 jetliners at last count, and the number is growing. Stay here with us now. There's more CBS News coming up in just a moment.
Once you pass 50, skincare's a whole new game.
L'Oreal introduces age-perfect anti-sagging and ultra-hydrating treatment.
Because mature skin has issues all its own. It starts to sag, loses resiliency, and needs more moisture.
Age-perfect actually improves skin's resiliency, tightening its network as it deeply rehydrates. So effective, 83% of women reported more resilient skin.
It's a major breakthrough for mature skin.
New age-perfect anti-sagging and ultra-hydrating treatment, only from L'Oreal.
Because you're worth it.
All right, things are really shaping up. What's for lunch?
Tomato soup.
Condensed soup? That was okay when we colored with crayons. We're adults now. There's a better tasting soup.
Progresso Hearty Tomato. Big chunks of fine ripened tomatoes and special seasonings, so you get way more flavor. See the difference?
This is better.
Now about your finger painting.
What?
It's time to go to the better taste, the Progresso.
Who'd you expect? Bob Dole?
Follow Mark Martin and the Viagra racing team this season.
Get to your doctor for a checkup and find out if a free sample of Viagra is right for you.
And for more information right now, race over to Viagra.com.
I'm every man.
And every woman who ever suffered from frequent, persistent heartburn.
If you've treated your heartburn and changed your diet, but it comes back 2 or more days a week, then you may know about the burning pain of acid reflux disease.
But there's something about acid reflux that I didn't know.
Over time, that acid churning up can wear away the lining of your esophagus.
I didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't.
But today, there's a purple pill called Nexium. It's from the makers of Prilosec. Just 1 prescription Nexium a day gives many people complete resolution of heartburn symptoms.
That could mean complete heartburn relief.
And importantly, Nexium is also proven to heal erosions in the esophagus caused by acid reflux. Only a doctor can determine if you have this damage. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium and Prilosec are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. So talk to your doctor and call this number for more information and for a free trial certificate for Nexium.
Relieve the heartburn, heal the damage. It's possible with today's purple pill called Nexium.
Tonight on Coin 6 News at 6, Oregon kids build bridges to our local Muslim community. A lesson for all of us. We'll see you at 6.
Here in New York today, Mayor Rudolph Giuliani gave Britain's Prince Andrew a tour of Ground Zero. Scores of British citizens were killed in the attack on the World Trade Center. The Prince announced that Queen Elizabeth is making the mayor an honorary knight for helping bereaved British families. The honor does not come with the title Sir Rudolph. The mayor says that's okay, fine. Just call me Rudy. One good night from New York deserves another. So Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News saying, good night from New York.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online at keyword CBS News.